Alright guys, welcome back. This is what I usually do on my Sunday nights, but I'll be honest with you, it'll be one of the dumbest things I ever do. And let me show you why. Let me bring up my futures here. As we can see, futures is getting crushed, right? The SPY is already down. Like I think it's in halt at this point. 'Cause it's limited down, right? So there's really not much we can do as far as building an actual watch list. Typically, what I do every Sunday night, I learned this from my mentor, and this has been a godsend for me. Typically, I'll go through the different indexes. As you can see, these are all the stocks that are in these individual indexes as well. And I would usually go through and I would do a 5, 30, and a 90-day sort, right? The 30 and 90 days would be for stocks that I'm thinking or looking for ideas to swing trade, and then of course the 5 day would be my short term stocks that I would be considering for day trading. Anyways, and if you saw my last video, my voice is clearing up a little bit more. I'm not as congested, so hopefully I'm on the road to recovery. Um, anyways, but yeah, again, with futures getting crushed already, um, the market's going to most likely open up down tomorrow. It's going to gap down, and we just don't know how bad it's going to be. So typically, what I usually do, like as you can see, my current flag list. I mean, I have a couple actual company stocks on there. I have like Carnival Cruise Lines, Royal Cruise Lines, but for the most part, I have a lot of ETFs, right? And that's all I really need. Um, Again, if the market gaps down tomorrow, if there's any chance of a bounce back, you could probably watch the TQQ. As you can see, Friday, it opened up pretty rough, right? And then of course it pulled down, then it ripped back up. Then of course, we had the end of day announcement from President Trump regarding the actions he was taking, and obviously the market responded really, really great to that. So it shot up, and then you can see it just kind of pulled back in the after hours, and then tapered off, and basically gave back what 3, 4 bucks, right? 3, 4 points. So again, tomorrow my plays are going to be mainly um, things like UVXY. So if the SPY and the QQQ continue going down, I will either play TVIX or I will play UVXY. UVXY, good lord, this thing was actually much cheaper to play last week, right? I mean, when I was playing TVIX when it was first going up, I was able to roll some serious shares. Now TVIX, like, let me pull up TVIX real quick here. TVIX, man, I mean, I traded this thing on Friday, and I mean, look at this run. Like, oh man, look at this. VWAP bounce. Bam. From 357 all the way up to 440. Man, if you could have held for that entire move, you're the man. Like you even got a little flag break, man. Well, a little pullback. But anyways, that's going to be the play tomorrow, right? These are going to be your plays. I'm only going to play most likely 4 stocks, right? Save for any of the cruise lines, maybe some oil, depending on how the futures responds to that. Because I know Trump was going to uh, fill up the nation's reserves with oil, so that actually had a really positive impact on Friday. One stock that I kind of got stuck in last week. I thought I would be smart and buy it off the bottom, and it just didn't do exactly what I wanted. But you can see, I mean, look at this. Look at the end of day on Friday. Man, I mean, it's not much, but I rolled just a large number of shares like a dumbass. Like, I still make mistakes too, right? I was just dreaming. I thought, man, I can roll a bunch of these shares and it's gonna go up a buck. And when this market recovers, like, I'll show you the play I really just I kicked myself in the ass. I bungled this piece of shit, right? JNUG. Love trading JNUG, right? So here you go. Excuse me. Let's see, what was this on? This was This was I had got in on this Thursday, right? Now, the after hours market, right? So J Nug closed here about 34 on the end of the day on Friday. And then it just tanked, right? In the after hours. Like it got down really, really low. Let's see here. Hold on. So let me show you where I bought this thing on Friday. So on JNUG, right? I had bought JNUG. It got down to like like I think like 850, right? On Thursday night. Thursday night, like not even like 3 minutes before closing, right? I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna roll 50 shares of this bad boy just to see. Yeah, I figured worst case. I mean, look, a couple weeks ago the stock was up almost what 105, 110, right? I mean, it got up there. We can see right here, got about 105. So I'm thinking like, you know what? I'm just gonna roll 50 shares of this, right? Worst case scenario, the trade's gonna cost me. 1 second. Excuse me. It's gonna cost me $400, right? And I'm not even gonna roll. I'm not even gonna. That's gonna be my entire. I'm willing to risk that entire trade, right? If it goes to zero, oh well. Hey, piss poor play by me. But I thought, you know what? I'm not even gonna roll a stop loss because I don't even want to. I'm just gonna hold it, right? Because if I have a stop loss, I get stopped out, and then it runs. I'm gonna be really pissed, right? So I'm like, I'm just gonna hold this, right? I'm not gonna sell it. I'm just gonna hold it because I'm gonna hold it for the big giant move up to maybe back. I mean, even if it gets to 50, right? You're still rolling some really good money, right? That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking I'm just gonna hold it, and then of course, I woke up first thing Friday morning, and I thought, I woke up at 4 a.m., looked at the markets, JNUG started to run, right? And oh my lord, dude, it was like up to like 13 something. I think it was like 13.19, and I'm like, you know what? I should sell this, right? Like I know better than this. I'm a better trader than this. I'm gonna have to hold this thing for probably a couple months, maybe even 6 months to get it back to 100, right? Which would be a nice lotto ticket. But do I really want to just tie up money that I could be using to trade a couple extra shares of UVXY, or maybe pick up another share of TVIX or something, right? And I thought, well, I'm rolling the dice, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna hold it. I said I'm gonna hold it. I'm not gonna sell it 13.19. So I'm like, cool, right? So the market opened, and let's see what TVIX did. Man, the first thing it did came. Let's see, it came down quite a bit. Like what the? Like yeah. 1 second here. All right, so here we go. So here we were at 13. I'm probably around $13, right? I think it was like around 12, right? So TVIX opened up and it flushed, right? It flushed down to $8, and I'm like, you know what? Screw this, dude. I'm not taking a bath in this because I think at this point it wasn't so much about the money, the few cents I was losing, right? Because normally I would have at least $1 stop on TVIC. I'm sorry, on JNUG. So I'm like, you know what? My ego got the best of me. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to be wrong on this thing. So I got out, right? And I was like, and then the rest of the day I was like, I should just held it, man. I promised myself I was going to hell. If I was going to sell it, I should have sold it at 13 in the pre-market when I was up around 4:30. But I'm like, there's just, what? Screw it, dude. Yeah, it is the way it is, And I thought, no big deal. Then it kept flushing. Then I hit this thing for a short in the end of the day, right? Oh my God, dude, this thing flushed and it flushed and it flushed, and I held it and I held it almost the entire way. Finally got down here and I'm like, there's no way this thing's going any lower. So I got out completely like around $4, right? I got in right up here, right? I got in right under the 9 EMA, about 750, right? Goes down. So I'm thinking like, man, I scored. Like I made more on shorting this than I would have, you know, if I had sold it 13 in the morning, pre-market. And then I was like, like I'm just gonna wait till the end. I'm gonna see what this thing closes at the end of the day, and I'm gonna roll. I'm gonna take all the money I made from TVIX, right? Which is a considerable amount. I was gonna take that and I was going to load up with shares around $3, right? Around 350. So I was going to take all my profits and I was going to load back in. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to hold this bad boy. Because, I mean, man, my entry point, my average cost basis is going to be even better now than it was the previous night. And then And then Trump came out with his announcement, and the market started roaring back. And then all of a sudden, this thing goes up. And at this point, I'm like, man, if I was going to buy it at 350, I should have bought it at 350. Oh no, no, no. I'm like, oh, it's going to come back down. It's going to come back down. Nope, didn't come back down. And then I got into the after hours market, right? Now I couldn't roll the kind of shares I wanted to because no one wanted to sell me the amount of shares I wanted in the after hours, right? So I was like, shit. So I really outthought myself in this. I mean, I caught a beautiful short right here, right? Which was awesome. But this is the move I really, really wanted. I was shorting it. I was trying to short this to help this get down to here, right? Something like, man, if it can go to 8, I bet it could go to 1, or I bet it could go to 2 or 3. And that's what I was trying to do. So I actually rolled some pretty good size here, right? So I thought, man, like, this is kind of cool. I'm actually help contributing to moving this thing. And it got down here, and it got down here, and it got down here. And I was like, wow. So if I could have rolled, I mean, I probably would have rolled 3,000 shares of this, right? Now, I mean, here, let me pull up my calculator real quick here, right? So if I had rolled, let me pull this over here. If I had rolled 3,000 shares of JNUG, right, at 350, this is what it would have cost me. It would have cost me about 10,500 bucks, right? Now, it's a big gamble, right? Big gamble. But look, I want you to see this. If I had rolled 3,000 shares of JNUG and it had made its, even if it made its way back to halfway to where the high, right? So 3,000 times 47, that's what I would have made. That's my thinking, right? That is my home run trade, right? If it had even, and at some point, yes, I do think JNUG is going to get right back to that, right? But then I'm going to be sitting there with $10,000 that I'm not actually able to trade with. It's going to be dead money until it gets back up there, right? Now, excuse me, if I had 3,000 and it rolled back to, let's just say 100, that's what I would have pulled in for one trade. So that's my thinking, right? My execution was piss poor because I kept waiting for it to go lower, and I didn't realize that we were already at the bottom, right? So, and then of course, Trump's announcement did not help me. So it's okay. So I'm really kicking myself in the ass. But again, this week, right, you're only going to have maybe 4 plays, 4 different stocks you're going to watch, right? For those that can actually roll bigger size of shares, TVIX is probably going to be the one you're going to watch, as well as, let's see, this is going to be if the market is down, right? You got UVXY and TVIX, right? Whoops. UVXY. So this is going to be a little bit better pricey for you. Now, if the SPY starts moving tomorrow, you have a couple options. You can trade SPXL, which moves with the SPY, right? It's a 3X ETF that moves with the SPY. You can look at this chart here on the left, the daily chart for SPXL, and you can look at SPY and they'll be the exact same. Exact same, right? Nothing changed. Either that, or you could do, if the market starts going up, you could also long TQQQ. Again, or if you have it available for short, some brokers don't, like Ameritrade doesn't have these ETFs for short. So if you trade at Ameritrade, you're going to have to trade in a different way. So if you wanted to short certain stocks, right? Like if you can't short TQQQ, you're going to long it with this one. This is the inverse for it, which is SQQQ, right? So if you wanted to short TQQQ, you're going to buy SQQQ long, right? And that's what that's your plays, right? Those are really the only 4 or 5 stocks I'm even watching tomorrow, right? So depending on how bad futures gets tonight, it depends on how far we gap down. I don't know. This is going to be a pretty volatile week. I kind of thought with Friday closing as strong as we did, I'm almost 100% certain at this point that it was just based strictly off the news that Trump gave in his conference. So I don't know. But again, so this week, right? Excuse me. At least for tomorrow, until the market starts to recover and rebound. TQQ. I don't know. Maybe UWT. You might want to look at that one. You can also do the you can do SBXY, right? Which is the short term, the big short term futures ETF, right? So I don't know. I mean, it's gonna be a rough week. But again, if you're only gonna watch four stocks, UVXY, TVIX, TQQQ, and SQQQ, you should be okay. And again, if the SPY starts moving upwards, SPXL would be their other option. Other than that, I don't think I would play any other regular company stocks tomorrow. Um, I'm getting up at 4 a.m. because I'm hoping that JNUG just kind of tanks back down. If this thing starts running tomorrow, I'm gonna be so pissed. Like seriously, I will be so angry because my idea was there, right? My execution was for shit. So this could potentially end up costing me a potential 200, $300,000 trade, right? You talk about a home run trade. Excuse me, still under the weather. But you talk about a home run trade. That is a home run trade. Like that's an entire year's worth of money. It's an entire year's worth of trading, right? All for one trade. And if I had to hold that trade, right? If I had to just think about that for 1 minute. If I had to hold that trade for 6 months, if somebody said, "Look, you give me $10,000, I'm going to hold your money for 6 months. But at the end of 6 months, I'm going to come back and I'm going to give you $200,000. Would you do it?" You damn skippy, you would. Why wouldn't you? Only a fool would say, "Nah, I'd rather keep my money now." Why? Are you going to make $190,000 between now and 6 months? Most likely not. Some will. Those are the experienced traders. But will you, as a trader, be able to replicate that same return? That's was my thinking. So that's why I think that hurt me. That missing that has eaten me up all weekend long. So again, I'm gonna get up at 4 a.m. and I'm gonna watch this. I'm still thinking like, you know what? I don't want to roll 3,000 shares of this now because I've just doubled, my cost basis. Right? I'm going from like 10,000 to almost 18, 19,000. Still not a bad deal. If it gets back up to 250 or $100, again, somebody comes to you and says, "Hey, 20 grand, I'm gonna come back in 6 months and give you 200 grand. Are you gonna take it?" You're damn right you will, right? Because again, are you gonna make 180 grand the next 6 months with your 20,000? No, you're not. It's not gonna happen. So again, this is kind of what I'm watching. So, but that's my list for pretty much tomorrow, and I somehow suspect that's going to be my list for the entire week because honestly, that was my list the entire last week. I had the same watch list almost every damn day. Right? Never happened. It hasn't happened to me at all in the last year. I've had some stocks that's carried over from one day to the next. Right? Day two, day three plays. Sometimes day four. But there's stocks I'm already in. But again, this has basically been this exact same list almost every day for the past week, right? So again, and for those that I used to say, hey, for those that didn't want to trade JNUG because it was too expensive, you could always go with Nugget, but even Nugget's more expensive right now. So again, we have to kind of figure out how the market's going to trade this week. But this is going to be a week that you want to be careful. If you are trading and you're trading actual name stocks, right, from other companies that are not like ETFs, you're going to have to lower your risk. You're going to have to trade smaller, right? Smaller risk, smaller positions. And listen, don't marry these things, right? Because this market has been so volatile for the past week, you could get smoked in a drop of a hat, right? So just to give you an example, let's say that you're holding, you're holding, I don't know. Let's pull up JNUG here, right? We got JNUG. So let's say that you're holding shares and you're thinking like, okay, you know what? It's gonna bounce. It's gonna bounce. Okay, so you're like, okay, cool. But your stop is right over here, and you're still fine. Well, what happens when somebody decides I'm gonna dump some shares? Boom. Or right here, this is what happened on Friday afternoon, right? Everything was going all right. I mean, it wasn't great, but man, all of a sudden the bottom fell out, and look at these big ass candles. The more this candle got big, this candle got big, right? Some more sellers piled in. Some more. When you got down here, everyone started freaking out and dumping their shares, which was awesome because for me, I'm already in a short position, right? So I want everybody to dump their shares. it's going to drive the price down, right? And then of course I got out like around here about $4 because I thought there's just no way it's going to go to three, right? That was my plan, was pick it up, below three, closer to one if I could. But yeah, I mean, you have no idea. So if you're going to long something, don't marry it, man. Take your profits quick, right? So yeah, you might want to get two, three, four, $500 profits. You might have to do that multiple times in order to meet your goal daily. But if you're going to hold something and think it's going to rip $500 for you, that's a risky game because somebody can come right in there and pull the rug out from under you. So be careful, be safe this week. Um, Honestly, I don't really know how the market's going to turn out. You know, I'm excited because like I've had the best trading of my life the last month, right? So many people are freaking out about their 401ks. Their portfolios are losing value. People are getting smoked on their trades. They have no idea how to trade the market. That's what I feel like I gained from my mentor, was an understanding of how to trade markets like these, and that's what I've passed along to my bootcamp students as well. Is being able to show them how to trade in any market, right? So most of these trainers out there, they're teaching you how to long things, right? Or they're teaching you how to trade in a market that's a bull market where you can throw a dart at anything, you're going to make money or make some money. Some people are really really good; they can make a lot of money doing it. But they're not teaching you how to trade in markets that are down. Why? Because we've been in a bull market for what, almost 13 years, right? So there really hadn't been a bear market for many people to trade in. So that's kind of what I'm teaching my students, because my mentor, who was amazing, a brilliant man, taught me the same way. So again, I'm just trying to pass it along so other people don't get smoked in this market, right? So again, have a happy trading week, and love y'all very much. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe.